Hello and welcome to this video. In this video, we'll generate wallpaper mockups using bulk mockup. So this is going to be a long video. I'll walk you through all my thought process and how I create the workflow for this. So keep your patience. While editing the video, I might skip some parts. Fasten it to make the experience better. But all the planning and the execution will be properly explained. So stay tuned. To show you, I have a couple of folders. These are the wallpapers, around 53 of them, and as I could look at them, they are not in consistent size. You could clearly see the size of these three. The aspect ratio of this one is different from this and that. Okay, so we'll have to manage how to fix this. Now let me take a look at the mockup folder. So we have 5 mockup templates. To show you how they look, let me open them in Photoshop. Okay, so this is the first one. Let me open the other 4 I mean. Okay, this looks nice. We have this one as well. Perfect. Pretty decent looking mockup templates we have, and I'll show you each of the process. So first of all, I'd like to edit this template and make it consistent. The name that you could see 2-17047213387. So when I work with mockup templates, I tend to rename them to give some proper meaning to those files. This is required because when you save the files, when you export the mockup, the arrangement will make better sense. Okay, so this is the mockup template, and this is the wallpaper wall mockup here. This is the background image, and we have a mask placed on that. If I double click and check, this is a blank layer. Anyways, that's nice. The other thing that I'd like to do is change the size of this wallpaper. The current size is 4000 into 3000 pixels. When you upload any image on the web, maybe it's a Shopify store, Etsy store, WooCommerce, this size is quite big and it will be a big burden on the servers. So it's always advisable to reduce the size. There are 2 benefits of reducing the size. First, all your file processing will be much faster. Photoshop will consume less resource, the speed will increase, and the final output that you'll get, it will be low size. That will be helpful for your SEO and as well as speed of your website. So let us try and change it to 1500. This is a standard size in which the quality is good, and it's also the file size is quite low. Also the resolution, keep it 72. So I'll hit on OK. Save it. One more adjustment requires to be done is on the smart object icon. When I double click and open the smart object, this is blank. So maybe we'll add some colors over here. We are doing this because when bulk mockup works, it will open up the smart object icon, it will delete what is already there, and then it would create the files. The problem is, if this is blank, bulk mockup would open this and to try to delete something, and when there is no data to be deleted, it will give you an error message. So for that reason, I've just placed some colors onto it, and maybe the name we could add oak dining table. So I'll rename it as Oak Dining. Next, let us open the 47th one. Again, we have 3000 and 2100. First, let us change the image size. We'll try 1500. Perfect. Then over here, we have a couple of smart object layers. We could change the color if you want, but anyways, so let us see what these 2 smart object layers mean. Okay, Okay, so as I could see, this one over here is for the right wall. So let me show you. And this one is for the left wall. So how do you want to place the wallpaper? Do you want only one wall, or do you want it on the both of the walls? So for both of the walls, we have to link this to smart object layers, which is quite complex to be explained on this video. So for now, we'll only replace the right wall, which is the bigger one, and leave the second wall as it is, because there aren't any not much space is required for the wallpaper. It's already covered with the big window over here. So for bulk mockup, to specify that it does not confuse between the smart object icons, we'll double click on the layer name and rename it as @design. When we rename the layer smart object layer as @design, we make sure that we are giving instruction to bulk mockup that you are only supposed to work on this smart object icon. Okay, and are there any data over here? Like there are some data, so bulk mockup would delete this and then it would work. Got it. And we will write it maybe green foliage. So I'm just using, instead of the numbers, I'm using some illustrated names that would make much better sense. I will go to image size, change it to 1500. Good. And this is nice as well. All good. So we'll just save it. And what can we rename it? Right, oak furniture, oak sofa maybe. Perfect. Then we have wait a minute. I think a green foliage was this 47 number 5. Yes. We'll rename this as green foliage, and I'll open this too now. I'll change the size to 1500. Nice. Check the dimension of this. This looks good. This one was the file. We could write blue furniture or blue bed. Finally, we have this one. So on this, there is already an mockup, wallpaper present. There are many layers. This one is the one that is supposed to change the smart object wallpaper. So if I double click and open it, okay, so it's a group. So ideally, I would like it to be only an layer. So I delete that, save it. Got it. And this being, there are lots of layers there. So just to make sure that we are on the safe ground, I'll rename it as @design. One thing you are supposed to keep a note, this @design or the smart object layer, it should not be inside any nested groups. Consider if this smart object layer was inside this chair group. Okay, so bulk mockup will have some difficulty finding that layer. So in that case, what you can do is duplicate the smart object layer by pressing Ctrl J. Pull the smart object layer on the top and change the fill and opacity value to 0. So by doing this, what we did is we created a second instance of the same smart object layer, and these two are linked just for bulk mockup to make it easy to find them on the top. Bulk mockup would work on this smart object layer, and this smart object and this smart objects are linked, which means any changes made on this will be reflected on this. And changing the opacity to 0 and fill to 0, we make sure that moving the layers on the top, it does not have any effect on the entire composition. Okay, so maybe I'll just rename it as @design1 and rename it as @design. So when bulk mockup opens this file, it would work on this @design. I forgot to change the size, so 1500. And maybe we could make one more little change. All the other ones were 72 dpi, so I'll go to image size and make this 72 dpi. When I change the resolution, the size changes as well, so I'll make sure that I re-enter the values. Perfect, and I'll rename this as a yellow armchair. Now let us take at the files that we have. So to explain it to you, let me just explain to you manually how the mockups would have been set up and how we could use bulk mockup to work on that. Okay, so let me just try this yellow armchair. Okay, I'll open it. These are our wallpapers. So as you can see, there are various kind of dimensions, and we want to make sure that it works flawlessly with our bulk mockup tool. So ideally, when bulk mockup works, it opens up this smart object icon, like it will double click and open it. Now I'll try 3 different sizes. So I'll put this one, and this one. I'll drag them. So let me just try this one. So this one, if you could look, there are some negative spaces around the file. So if I save this as it is, look what happens. Giving you an illustrated example will explain what design resize option we are supposed to check in the bulk mockup. So this looks decent, but you could see there are 2 spaces. These 2 empty spaces are reflected. So to fix this, there are 2 ways. Either we could Control Shift and stretch it out like this. Okay, this is one method of resizing this design. The other method would be we could just keep the aspect ratio same and crop the top. So whatever is your preference, we'll go with that. I think stretching that wallpaper sounds better. Okay, so we'll do that. Similarly, if I take a look on this one, you could stretch it like this. This could be one solution. The other solution could be cropping this. So both of them, in the first example, the green foliage, I think stretching was more convenient. It would look better. And in this case, cropping out them would look better. In bulk mockup, we have both the options. If you could see, we have fill, canvas, and stretch. It will stretch the artwork. And the second option that we have is fill, canvas, cropping the extra. So this one is cropping the extra. So you decide what is best for you, and you can go ahead with that option. Okay, so I'm just illustrating what would happen. I think this sits perfectly, so no changes is required. All right, so just I wanted to illustrate how things are going to work. Okay, now if I look at this folder, there's one more issue that I'd like to point out. Not an issue, but something that needs to be taken care of. Look at the file sizes. 2.37 MB, 2.37, 28 MB, 12 MB, 42, 4.44, 25 KB, 5.4 MB. Okay, you could look over here. I'm just taking the size from here. Okay, 16 MB, 69 KB, 7.49 MB, 3.95 MB, 1.22 MB. So, the file size in general is quite big. This is good for printing, but when you use it for web, we do not require this big files. If your computer has the power and configuration to handle big files, you can put them in bulk mockup and run them through without any issue. It will take time, but for all people using laptops or lower configuration system, I'll recommend you to keep a separate copy of these files, okay, and create a lower version file out of these. So instead of maybe 9.9 MB, can we change into 1 MB or maybe below 1 MB? So if you do that, bulk mockup or in general the complete process of creating the mockups will be much faster, okay, because Photoshop takes a lot of resources when he deals with large files, and 9 MB 10 MB are supposed to be large files, okay. So just to show you, I mean, my configuration is quite good enough. I could run them through directly, but just to give an heads up to all the other viewers that will be watching this video, I'll make sure that I reduce the size. And how do I do that? I'll show you that as well. One more issue that I'd like to point out, if you look at the file names, some of them has some accented characters. I just noticed over here. Look at the file name. Sorry. So we have paper, pen, in test, and there's an accented character on E. Over here as well. I mean, over here as well. So bulk mockup is notorious handling this kind of file names. So it's better if you could rename that and remove the accent characters. Okay. So to do that, you can do it manually if you could look at your naked eyes, or I have this small tool, advanced renamer. This is a free tool available for free to download, available in the Mac. You may want donate some amount if you like, but I have been using this tool a lot lately, and there are different methods you could rename the files. So grab them, paste all the artwork over here, and there are different methods you could add to remove the accented characters. So add a name. You need to learn, I mean, these things. But if you have some knowledge of coding or using formulas in Excel, you'll be good over here. So I'll just open that. I'm just trying to find a formula to remove the accented characters. Maybe I'll replace. So we saw the accented characters only in E, I guess. So I'll copy this character. I'll paste it. We will replace it with B. Could see, I mean, 1, 2, 3, 4 files have this issue, and this one has, if you see red, which means there is a possibility that this could be a duplicate file. Anyways, we want to replace E, and do we replace any other file? Do you see any other characters with an accent? Just take a look at them. Now we have it over here. Okay, there's one more issue that I just noticed. If you look at this file name, OR, I think there's a space after R. Okay, so again, bulk mockup will face, bulk mockup and Photoshop both will face problem reading that file which has a space after, at the end of the file name before the dot extension. We have to omit that as well. So first, I'll click on Start Batch. Skip erroneous files. So 2 files were skipped. I'll click it on OK. Minimize this. The files were renamed, and there were 2 files that were erroneous. If you remember, it had some these 2. So I'll rename it as E1. should be .a. Okay, and we also notice some spaces at the end. I think there's no spaces, sorry. Okay, so it looked like there was some spaces, but I think it's good. So if you cannot see this extension, there are ways you can activate that. You'll go to view and then you can check in file name and extension. Okay, in Mac there's also an option, just Google it and you'll find an option to show the extension. So these are only to avoid certain errors that we get. These files were sent by one of our customers that he were facing some problem. So I'm just taking a look at verifying that everything is perfectly fine, and I will run this in bulk mockup with one go. So he faced similar issues, so I'm taking extra care for checking all those things that would create an error message. Okay, next is I'll try to resize them to a lower file size. So what we can do, we'll sort it by size. You could look at the file size here, it's 32288 KB. So something that is below 1 MB is fine, and below these are above 1 MB. A new folder, grab it. We'll resize them so that it works very fast with bulk mockup, and these are already resized. I mean, these are quite small in size compared to the other ones. Before you resize this, make sure that you keep a copy out of it, because these are only to be used for the mockup. When you actually sell them, you'll need the high resolution files to print. So in that case, you could use them. You can keep a separate copy of the high resolution files. To resize, there are different methods. One method is an app extend convert. You could use this one. In the actions, just make sure you have this option lang source selected. This is the best compressor. It will compress the files. So this is the one way. You could use this app extend convert. Then there are online apps that you could use, like a tiny PNG. You could use this app to compress the files, but again, we have large number of files, so we'll be using Photoshop to do our task. So go to Photoshop, go to File, Scripts, then we have Image Processor. Select this one, select Folder, you go to the location. This is the files to be resized, selected, save, select the process, and we'll save it in the same location. Over here, file type, you could change the quality to maybe 8 and resize to maybe 1500. Okay, and no actions to be run, just resize. Some files are very big, maybe 4000 pixels, 5000 pixels, so we are reducing the size by changing the quality to 8 and resize it to 1500 pixels. The maximum quality over here is 12, so 8 is the medium quality, so we'll keep that and hit on run. So we'll open the files and it will resize them. You could look at the size over here, 6000, 6000, 5000, 5000. So now this was the folder to be resized, and there's a separate folder created inside JPG, call it, and look at the file sizes: 197 KB, 221, 474, 394, 27. So it's reducing the size. Okay, and earlier this one 2.37 MB, from 2.37 it's 197. So let us give it a moment. So you can resize whatever way you wish. And there are 39 of them. There we have, everything is resized. Now just to make sure that we have correct data. We'll rename this originals. Copy all these files to the originals, and inside this one we'll copy all this, cut these files because these are originals. We have all the original files, 53 of them, with the maximum size that we received, and then these are already low size, so we'll cut this and we'll paste it over here. And these are the resized one. I'll select all, cut, and then paste it. So we have all the resized files over here. Now it's time for bulk mockup to come in action. So we'll go to Photoshop, plugins, bulk mockup. The first one is select the PSD folder, as you already know, main PSD folder. So I'll select in the PSD folder that we have mockup foliage, then design file folder. Now there are two files, two originals and to be resized. So this is the resized files. We'll select this one. Okay. Then we have the export location. We'll create a new folder here. We'll call it Wallpaper. It's now like the different canvas resize method I explained, I'll stick to fill canvas and stretch. Then I'll go to the settings tab. First, let us take a look at the design layer. So we do not want to scale the design, and we'll use the center alignment, no resize to guides and align to guides feature. Okay. Then I'll go to PSD template file. We want the export to be in JPG, so I'll select JPG. Do not resize. Resolution of the exported document, we'll keep it as is. If you remember, all the template size were of 72 dpi, so all of the exported file would be 72 dpi, so you can keep it as is or 72 dpi. Notice that whatever design or artwork file that you use in the web, you upload on the website for selling purpose, let it be 72 dpi. Again, 72 dpi means lesser file size, smaller file size. On the export, we have export to subfolders, so we can dump all the exported mockups into all in exported wallpaper, or maybe we could dump in, like there were 5 PSD template, we could create subfolders for the 5 template, and each of the subfolder will have all the mockups for that template. Or you could select design file. I prefer design file because when you create a listing, you create a listing for the design file. So if I create a subfolder for each design, that means that will be equivalent to number of listings that will be uploaded into the website. Exported file name pattern. So like I did give some convenient name for this mockup template, but let us take a look at the file names of this one. The file names are quite descriptive for this as well, so let us keep it design, mockup, design and incremental. Over here, I'll not add incremental, mockup and design. When you select the exported file name pattern, make sure that the combination should always be a unique name. What means, like there are 5 templates. Just to explain you, there are 53 files and there are 5 templates. So for each template, 53 design will be placed. Okay, so we need 53 unique names. Again, for the second template, we need 53 unique names. So if you only select the mockup name, so there will be only 5 unique templates, right? So it will overwrite the files that bulk mockup creates. If you select only design file name, there will be only 53 unique names. Okay, so we'll get only 53 output. But when we select mockup plus design, so we have artwork file name, then PSD mockup name. So it would create 53 into 5, which is 265 file names, which is what we want. Okay, so make sure that you always select a unique name. If you do not want to put the mockup name, you could use incremental value. That will make sure that all the files are exported. Okay, so I'll select mockup and design, then go to mains tab, and I'll hit on start generating. So it will open the first one, and look, it's already working. and it's quite fast, to be honest. If you ask me, these are working very fast because we already resized the design files. If the design files were big, like 4 MB, 5 MB, it would take a lot of time. So let us take a look at the exported folder. So it's creating a subfolder for each design name. And when we open the design name, I'll look at them. Isn't this beautiful? Lovely. So let me give it a moment. It will work on the first template, then it will start working on the other ones. There are 53 files, so there will be a total of 265 exported mockup. The time over here is 3:49 p.m. I'll fast forward this in the editing part, so you could look at the end when all the files are exported. So I'll just keep it over here and enjoy my break. This is how bulk mockup is supposed to work. Just set up it once and then go and have a cup of tea or coffee, or maybe do anything else that you'd like to do. Bulk mockup will take care of all the exporting, organizing, everything. Just keep watching. Now it's working on the second template, so you could look. This one is the first and this one is the second one. So nice. It took only 2 minutes to work on one template, so you can guess for 5 templates it would take 7 to 9 minutes, I believe. So I believe it is working on the final template. So as you can see, this template is taking a bit of time. Like I explained you earlier, if you look at this template, we forgot to resize them, if you remember. 4000 and 2160. So had we resized it to 1500 pixels, it would have been faster, but we missed to resize that, and that is the reason it's taking a bit of time. Unlike the previous one, unlike the previous template, those were fast. And the time, if you look at it, it's 4:01 p.m., which means it took around 12 minutes, and I think it will be completed any moment now. There are only 4 templates, 4 exports. Now we have 5 over here, so maybe it's working somewhere around over here. 5th one. Okay, so it will be completed any moment, I guess. Okay, so bulk mockup has done its job and all the files are exported. So to get all of them, you could go into the search bar and type in and JPG and hit enter to pull out all the artworks. So like I said, 265 items in 14 minutes. If I scroll and zoom in, you could look at how beautifully this wallpaper looks. So that is how you create wallpaper mockups with bulk mockup. I hope there were tons of things to be learned on this workflow video. I'll be bringing in more workflow videos when I get a chance to work on different projects. If you have any questions, just put them into the comments box, or you can also contact our support team at support@bulkmockup.com. Thank you for watching the video till the end. Thank you.